This story starts in the 17th century. A priest called Skibit arrived on the island after being shipwrecked off the northern coast of Kralingenburgh. The man came from a town called Arndorf. He told stories about this plague killing everyone. He did not know if this was an act of God or it was just a sickness. With so much death in town, people lost their religion. He knew he had to run. He boarded a ship in Denmark going to Norway, but on his way in he shipwrecked off the coast of the island. Kralingenburgh wasn't that densely populated back then. There were some small settlements, but they were very far apart. The priest had to walk for days and he prayed for a sign or anything, because he was really considering giving up. And then it appeared. This unnatural red glow coming off a mountain, which had to be a defining intervention. It had to be an act of God, and then he knew. He had to start all over. And that's where the story of Saint Skibit begins. Hey guys, and welcome back to Kralingenburgh. In this episode we're gonna try to move away from that old wild pass. We're gonna try to build vineyards. As you see on screen, I'm building the first one. And you might have noticed in the intro I named Skibit. This is because I want to name some of my industries or houses, buildings, backstories to other creators, which I really appreciate. And Skibit is one of the big ones. He is one of the true OGs of Cities Skylines, and I mean everyone knows him. Everyone who's watching YouTube, or at least YouTube Cities Skylines, knows about Skibit. His work is amazing. Little France, Andorf. So yeah, I thought it was fun to build a little backstory towards his old project of Andorf and moving it a little bit into mine. And yeah, so the story of Saint Skibit, I will elaborate on it later on in the episode. But as you can see on screen, I'm building this first vineyard, which it had this natural terrace area within the map, which was perfect for it. And yeah, I had to use the Ronyx vineyard assets to build this vineyard, which gonna be named the Ronyx Vineyard. So we're building two in this episode. One is called Ronyx Vineyard, the other one is Saint Skibit Vineyard. And yeah, Ronyx is also one of the big asset creators, and I think we all love him, we know his work, but I'm not sure if he still creates anything, honestly, but these assets are fantastic and I really love using them. So yeah, it brings a little bit more of a new industry to Kralingenburgh. I think the industry is going to be red wine, and it's going to be the most northern, well, no, could be both actually, but the most northern red wine in Europe. Something like that. I know the island is probably way too close to towards Scandinavia to actually be feasible to create wine, but who cares? It's fictional. It's fun. So the whole idea of naming industries after creators, it came on a live stream I did 2 weeks ago. I, by total accident, did a live stream. I really wanted to do it someday, but I was trying to set up OBS to do it, and halfway in I accidentally started one. I was like, oh well, I could just try it out. And turns out a lot of people came to join in, so it was really fun. Really, we had cool conversations. People were giving ideas, and at some point we came on the idea of naming a factory after, I think, Strict Toaster, and the other one was Fluxrand, two of the other OGs. So yeah, I named those after them as well. So what you see on screen is me finishing up the first vineyard. I used the Seabat colonial styled house, which I really love, or Victorian style, I guess. And some of Eva's barns, which are always perfect for any project. And just add some barrels and some dirt decals and some foliage to sell it. But I'm not going too hard on details on this vineyard. It's small, but it's also very off the beaten path, so you only see it from far away. This is the last time you probably see close-ups of it. So I did make a nice custom sign, which you will see in another shot later on. For now, it's just some general detailing, and I'll be back in the second part of the episode where we build the Saint Skibit monastery. So we arrived at the second part of the episode, and this is the Saint Skibit monastery. So it's situated right across the mountain he saw in his vision, the red one. I think when Saint Skibit arrived, he thought, I must find a new purpose in life, and that's why he founded this monastery. And we are generations away now from Saint Skibit. Of course, he died hundreds of years ago, but now what he left is this beautiful monastery with a big vineyard around it, which is quite touristy as well. Wine has always been linked to the Christian church as well. I don't know exactly the backstories anymore. But I know beer and wine are made in monasteries throughout Europe. So yeah, I again use all of the grey flame rocks. This asset, by the way, I think it's by Titan. It's beautiful, and I made this path towards it, and I added a queue block to get some tourists out here, and I added a walk-in tour through the vineyards when it's done, so people can actually go and look at the vineyard. And I hope it will attract some tourists outside of the city. Oh yeah, here I place this cross on top of the mountain where the legendary Saint Skibit saw the red glow. And I think for him it was a divining moment, an act of God, and that's why later on he became a saint. Because when he arrived it was Skibit, but now it's Saint Skibit. And I guess he's probably part of our culture and history of this island. Yeah, and here you just see me add more and more of these wine fields and these vineyards. I added a path here. It must have been hell for the priests or the monks to get all the grapes up to the monastery. So later on you'll see me add a really clever solution they came up with. So to overcome the struggle of having to bring all the buckets of grapes up to the monastery, the monks built this clever rail system. I PO'd a basket, which was not really easy, but it took some time. But at some point I got this basket with these wires on it, and I added this market assets and tried to make them purple to look like wine grapes. And then I put the baskets on the wires and used PO modules to let them move back and forth, and just adjusted the wires so it actually would make sense. But there are lots of these types of wires all across the vineyard, and up the mountain I'll make this small it kind of resembles like the ones you see with when you go skiing, like a small station where they will pick it up and bring it, I don't know where they make the wines, but I guess in the cellars of the monastery. I just hope this added some spice to another vineyard, because they all look kind of the same, and I know they're really pretty to look at, but now with the carts moving back and forth, the baskets, it has some moving parts and it makes them feel more alive. So when the tourists arrive and they walk through it, I think it's going to be a really cool spot. But now I'm just adding some last details, some buckets, some baskets, some grapes, some dirt decals, and I think that's where I called it a day. So guys, we're closing in on the ending of the episode. I had really fun on this one. I hope you guys did too. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that stuff, you know what to do. This was Jazz. Bye!